The world depends on entrepreneurs. Most growth around the world is from entrepreneurial efforts and small businesses in local markets. The most important characteristics of entrepreneurs around the world require them to be decisive. They have to be able to make decisions quickly, effectively, and be able to get other people to make decisions. Entrepreneurs have to be communicators. Entrepreneurs understand the importance of two-way communication and focus their communication on achieving the company goals. Risk-taking is a required skill of entrepreneurs. That's knowing what's going on, what needs to be changed, and be willing to try something new or just change the system for the good. To be a risk-taker, one has to be able to determine alternatives and weigh the likelihood for success. I like to see or deal with entrepreneurs that are resource committers. Entrepreneurs should have the resources that are needed or can get them when and where possible. Once entrepreneurs have the resources, they have to be able to commit them to the right goal. Very few entrepreneurs are sole proprietorships or work alone. They need to be able to do their core competencies by themselves and a few other team members, and then acquire other skills and talents through outsourcing. The global marketplace requires entrepreneurs to be adaptive. They adapt to markets, customers, competitive initiatives, and economy and politics. Overall, entrepreneurs want to do something different than what is done in the marketplace. They want to do more than just get by or do the minimum. They want to build things, companies, instead of just maintain, doing the same thing over and over again. And an increasing number of these entrepreneurs are women. Women and gender diversity is becoming a major competitive advantage for organizations worldwide. Despite the challenges of culture and tradition in various regions and countries around the world, women excel today with their intuition, emotional intelligence, and multifunctional skills in many industries and sectors. More women graduate from universities and trade schools than ever. In business, women increasingly are seeking jobs that are more bottom-line based, with profit and loss impact. Today, more than 13 Fortune 500 CEOs are female. This is great news. In China and India, where women historically haven't been in formal business much, they are increasingly being brought into corporations, moved up, and in developing countries, they are often the majority players in the entrepreneurial economy, which is fueling global growth. Let's take another look around the world. Women who are in the workforce, 77% of Swedish women are in the workforce, followed by 76% in Switzerland and 68% in the United Kingdom, 65% in the United States and Japan, and 50% in Italy. These are huge numbers. Aside from the percentages of women working, it's critical to remember that they have money, they spend money, and their working also creates other service jobs such as childcare, along with a higher demand for products such as clothing, cars, and other job-related products. Women are the primary buyers around the world, so products and services are adapted and customized to them. The new role of women in society is not really new. It's just that more are taking on and accepting the more Western role that women play in and around their homes and businesses. The role of women in society differs throughout the world and is dependent on the country, which also impacts the customers that companies try to create or serve. Women are stepping through doors that are opening for them in business, increasingly, or opening their own doors, as exhibited by select women in Saudi Arabia, getting out and driving themselves to the grocery, school, mosque, etc. This assertiveness is increasing throughout the world at different levels of society. Women are better at being multidisciplinary and adaptive in the communication arenas. They are better at convincing customers or audiences and always adapt better. Further, they can deal with multiple audiences at the same time within the same market or target. They are also excellent managers with their persuasive communication skills and styles. Entrepreneurs, in general, must be information masters. They must have a good personal repository of information. The information in the repository should be about the entrepreneur's world specialty and that of potential customers and full knowledge of the competition. Without a doubt, information has to be global today, covering everything that the entrepreneur would know about local markets, but now the markets are in distant foreign countries. Entrepreneurs gather information about industries, individuals, issues, and interests that are of interest to them. The information is communicated to employees and acted upon. The search for information is done 24/7, locally, regionally, around the world. The environmental scan forces one to gather information that may affect the entrepreneur, the organization, employees, and the customers. As an entrepreneur, the environmental scan should include political, economic, social, cultural, and technological sources. Entrepreneurs must be makers of decisions in a timely and effective way. It's not just the decisions of the entrepreneur. It's even more about the decisions that the entrepreneur can get others to make. Most business people and individuals are weak in decision making. Therefore, they look for a guide or maker that can facilitate their making decisions. Think something and then do something. This is also known as making conclusions and acting. It's critical that managers and directors, in fact, all employees, are able to think critically, make sense of a situation, make conclusions, and determine what happens next and what should be done in the future. Make recommendations. Being able to do this is a matter of differentiating oneself and one's company from the competition. Conclusions should be clear and concise. Base them on readings, experience, citations, case studies, text material, goals and objectives, personal or corporate. Conclusions wrap up, and recommendations do this based on the conclusions. Conclusions typically cover the past and the present. Recommendations focus on what to do now and in the future. They are the foundation of a plan, getting where you need to go. Recommendations need specificity. Otherwise, they end up generating questions that should have been answered, or they will guide people in the wrong direction, and the right thing won't be achieved. All recommendations, objectives, should be quantified and timed. Quantify by specifying how many or what percentage or how much money should be achieved. To add specificity and clarity, write your recommendation with increase or decrease in mind. Recommendations indicate change. That's what you are trying to achieve, and they are either an increase or a decrease in something specific. Entrepreneurs need to be effective leaders and exemplary team members. What does that mean? A successful entrepreneur doesn't operate in isolation. He or she possesses and utilizes some of the following characteristics with other team members, customers, and stakeholders. 1. Entrepreneurs work toward the understood goals of the team. They contribute to an informal, comfortable, and tension-free work environment. Further, entrepreneurs are enthusiastic about working with the team. They follow through on commitments, and they take pride in the team's work. Entrepreneurs readily accept feedback on performance, encourage others to achieve at high levels. It pays to be a good team player. Number 2, entrepreneurs have good ideas. One of the critical things they are often responsible for or have are good ideas. Once they have the idea, they have to figure out how to commercialize it, when, and with whom. They also have many other things to consider. Entrepreneurs must decide whether to take a quick payoff or sell an idea for steady income, hold on to it, or donate it. There are many choices, many pros and cons, but not in a way where the entrepreneur would be stifled. How do you leverage your career or take advantage entrepreneurially from the inevitable rise of robots in the workplace and in life in general? Entrepreneurs are the builders of the robot world. Here are 5 good places to start. Be the one who makes the robots. Fortunes will be made from making robots in the decades ahead, and other fortunes from repairing them, supplying them with spare parts, and recycling the old ones. Move up your market. Though robots may soon put pressure on your job because they can do it more cheaply, it will take much longer for them to do it better. An automated scanner works well enough at the grocery checkout line, and as a customer, you probably appreciate the cheaper prices it allows the store to charge. But it isn't superior to dealing with a person, which is a soft skill. Be creative. Computers and robots will almost certainly make big inroads in professions like law, medicine, engineering, and accountancy, which depend in large part on the ability to retain and apply lots of complex information. The more innovative your work is, and more creatively you apply your skills, the easier it will be to defend your career. Find a new industry. The economy is never a zero-sum game. Who knew we needed social networks or phones to play games on, or places to store our pictures online? Those big industries didn't exist even a decade ago, and in another decade, there will be a whole host of new ones. Amuse the robots. As real artificial intelligence emerges, selling things to robots will be a huge industry. As old careers get automated out of existence, new ones will open up, and we will have to learn to exploit these opportunities. Career success will depend not on resisting new robot roles, but on thinking shrewdly about how to stay a step ahead of their clumsy, predictable tread. Global competitiveness comes in many forms. One not addressed yet is about learning and training. Learning is step 1 of a process where people gather information they have been seeking and learn it. Step 2 is to not only know the information for the short term, but for the long term. Third, people should then do and perform. People are not just repositories of information, rather they are users of information to help them in their life and at work. So it's all about learning, knowing, and then doing, using the information that's critical. We gather information for the sole purpose of using it. Global competitors must understand the differences and values of culture, politics, and economics. These and other factors will influence the developments of products, the communication process, and the relating to customers. It's critical for firms to teach and train and promote on the basis of having new knowledge available on a long-term basis. Let's remember, at this point, most training and learning involves the curve of forgetting, which details that forgetting plays a huge role to the result that people forget 65% within 24 hours and 80% within 30 days. With this in mind, companies are having to reconsider what 80% of the training content is okay to forget, while at the same time 80% of training expenditures are spent and wasted due to forgetting. Many companies, schools, and U.S. military services use an innovative company which I founded, Total Recall Learning, based in San Diego, that has a proprietary patented learning system which, when used effectively, 30 to 50% training time is eliminated, all at the same time that 85% or more of the training is learned, known, and done with a recall rate. Memorization often shunned by education experts. However, increasingly, they are going back to the fundamentals of learning and seeing that the core knowledge and processes of remembering, understanding, and applying from Bloom's taxonomy requires that much of it must be memorized. Once memorized, and when they get in the situation to use the memorized material, they have it to draw on and can use it effectively. According to David G. Bonagura, Jr., a teacher and writer in New York, in a recent Wall Street Journal article, trainers, teachers want their trainees and students to acquire not just basic knowledge, but a deeper conceptual understanding that is manifested through critical thinking and analysis, skills that educational fads and initiatives rightly extol. But such thinking is impossible without first acquiring rock-solid knowledge of the foundational elements upon which the pyramid of cognition tests. Further, Bonagura says memorization is the most effective means to build that foundation. Yet drilling basics are almost nowhere to be found in today's classroom and training programs. Having the fundamentals at the ready gives them both skill and confidence, two attributes that make learning effective and enjoyable. In our technologically sophisticated culture, some people have concluded that memorization is no longer necessary, since all the information we need is available at the push of a button or tap of a screen. I too believe that memorization deserves to be reinstated to its foundational role in learning. Only then will globally competitive students and trainees have a core knowledge that they can think critically about. In conclusion, do what you have to do to continue and expand your success and your organization's success with entrepreneurship, spirit, and strategy. Global competitiveness is dynamic. The worldwide economy depends on your efforts, putting to use the tactics and strategies I have discussed under an ETK framework that strengthens the emotional, human, technology, and knowledge components of your organization. Start today.